The Jesuits have been involved in education since the early days of the society. Why is this so, Father?
To my mind, education responds very much to the perspective of St. Ignatius to how can we help humanity. I think Ignatian spirituality, as you know, is based on the transformation of the person. And therefore, the whole spirituality is geared to change and transformation. And that transformation has to be real and has to be total. And so St. Ignatius thinks in terms of the transformation of the heart first, so that a new person can transform society. So it goes all the way from the heart to society. He was not thinking about education at the beginning, and so in the formula that was approved by the Pope, there is nothing about education. But very soon he got involved with education, and he was very eager to develop education because he saw, and Father Laínez helped him to see it. He saw that education is the best platform on which we can contribute to the transformation of the heart of a child that is growing up, so that it becomes a heart open to others and that can contribute to the change of society, which is the need that every wise person in the world has felt.
How is a Jesuit education different from other schools?
Well, I hope it is different. I hope that we are very different. And the main difference is that our education is not competitive. We are not trying to do what others do, but better, so there would be competition, and it would reduce us to some particular purposes, which now, unfortunately, are very economic and in terms of production, competition, etc. But that our education is geared really to the person. So we want to form people, men and women, as Father Rupe said, for others. Father Kolbenbach said, with others, so people who can contribute to society.
The last time you were here, Father, the Jesuits were running the diocesan school. But now we have our own schools, Colegio Santo Ignacio de Loyola in Kasai. What can Jesuit education offer Timorese children?
Well, first, a perception of the whole person. Not reduce the person to economic factors or productive factors, but to see the person as a whole. I'm doing some reading on the development of the human brain, and it insists there that a full person that keeps his or her brain alive until old age is a person that is happy with what he or she is doing and can communicate happiness. So therefore, I hope that our education communicates to people the sense of life and the sense of family and relationships, and enjoy what we are doing and enjoy our society and so forth. There was a research done in the United States about ants, which are the symbol of hard work. And they found out with great surprise that 20% of the ants don't work. They keep moving. That's why it looks always like an ant colony keeps moving all the time, but they are not working. And then they took this 20% out of the colony. And after a while, again, 20% did not work, which might mean that for a healthy society, not everything is work. 80% will will have to be work, but we need the 20% of family life, relationships, friendship, entertainment, music, art, other factors. So this totality of the person in a harmonious way, I think, is what we want to communicate through education, so that we don't make one-sided persons, but persons that can enjoy the whole range of life. Education is a very good platform for transformation, that we communicate that to the students. That transformation is an ongoing struggle, transformation for the good. For us, Christ is the model, of course. So to become a person that is compassionate, that is joyful, that is community building, like Jesus did in his own time. And this is the kind of humanism we want to communicate. No? We want humanism that enjoys everything, that is popular, like the present Pope is presenting to us, that we can quote Plato, but we can quote also Grandmother Rose, no? as the Pope does. So this is what would make a society very normal. Therefore, personal growth will be always important. And one of the important things that we stress in our education is personal care, no? The care for each one of the students, and then accompaniment, to be there when the child needs help. In Japan, there is a television program very popular, and it's based on an encounter. They look for a politician or a well-known pop singer, someone who has popularity in the country, and they try to find out who is the person that most influenced them. And then they look for that person, and they find the person, and they produce an encounter. They don't know that they are going to meet each other on television, and this is very popular because it's very emotional and so forth. And more than 80% of the person are teachers. Teachers that accompanied the students, and in a moment of crisis, the student could speak to that teacher. And the teacher did not worry about time, but he gave them the time to listen, to give advice, and so on. So these are the most influential people in the life of modern people even. So this is the model on which we work, no? Personal care, accompaniment, so that people can come to any Jesuit who is an educator and open his heart or her heart, and we help and be accompanied to live better. No?
In recent years, there seems to be a renewed focus on education among Jesuits in the Asia-Pacific Conference. Timor Leste, we have educational project, and there is a plan for a new school in Cambodia and Myanmar. Why is this so, Father?
Well, because education continues to be primary need of all these countries, and also because we see that, unfortunately, education is being sidetracked, no? Is channeled now to particular purposes which are mostly production and economic reasons, and we see the danger that the humanism of these countries might be sidetracked and centered on secondary things. It's obvious that economy is very important, but it's secondary. The person is more important. No? And therefore, we think that in education we can not only contribute to the education of a few students, but to influence also the mentality of the country and the mentality of the Ministry of Education, so that the priority of the person continues to be the center of the concern. So that's why in all these countries, spontaneously the need of education comes to the mind of any Jesuit, because we want to help the country, not only because we want to build a prestigious school.
Here in Asia Pacific, we are so fortunate to have the support of the friends of the Jesuits, support of the benefactors and collaborators. They have been sending expertise, funding, and helping in formation. Do you like to comment on this solidarity?
Well, I think it's a very good sign of the times. Hillary Clinton wrote a book about education, and the title was "It Takes a Village." And she was talking that real education takes a whole village. So it's not only what the student experiences in the school, but in the family, with the friends. So it's the whole village educating its own people. No? And I think this is very true. And the fact that now there is a new awareness in the general population that the responsibility of education, for instance, is not only the educators, the teachers, but that everybody has to contribute. Some finding an employment in that institution, some contributing financially to keep it going, others supporting maybe communication processes and so forth. This is very good because it is an opportunity to share the same values and to have one heart in a wider population, which is going to be what contributes to support the values and the education that you receive in the institution. So I think this is a very good development. Another perspective is that we in the church are gaining more and more in terms of advance, and the Pope Benedict already used twice, from what I can see, is that the real mission of education falls within a wider mission of God. No? It's God who wants to do good to people. No? And therefore, whoever has the heart, this is at the root of cooperation in most of our works. That's why we work best when we work in cooperation with the laity, and we share responsibilities, we share technology, and we learn also from them what they can do to others and how to do it. And therefore, what is happening now of having so many people who support our work is very, very hopeful. It means that the mission of God is taking hold of the hearts of people. And therefore, we have to continue to be the minimal society. We are only a small group, and we cooperate with others for the good of the wider community.